Hello, Tom Nelson here doing a video on drum maintenance. I have already disassembled this drum. I'm going to show you how I did that. Then I'm going to fix anything that needs fixed on the drum, and then I'm going to put it back together in this video. I hope to provide some information for beginners, intermediates, and experts. Stay with me and hopefully you'll learn something. To begin with, you need some tools. You need a drum key if you're going to be fixing a drum. You'll need perhaps a socket for removing the lug casings. You may need a wrench. For my drum I do. And you may need a screwdriver. Some will require a flathead, some will require a Phillips or a star head. I also have a rag here, my phone, a pencil, and as you see, the parts that I've already taken off. So I'll show you where I'm at to catch you up. The first thing you want to do when maintaining your drum, fixing it, changing a head, whatever it is take the lug bolts off. This drum has 6. So you take your drum key, set it on the lug bolt, loosen it up. Once you get it loose enough that your fingers can twist it, I usually take the key off. I'll usually go around, loosen all of them enough, and then what I'll do is take my fingers and 2 at a time on opposite sides, just loosen them right up till they come out. Once I have them loose enough, all of them are disconnected from the lug casing, I pull them out. I take the washers off, I set them over here, and I set my lug bolts together there like that. And my intention there is that I'm going to clean them before I put them back on and re-grease them before I put them back on. Now I like to work on a flat table. I like to lay a towel or in this case a blanket so that it's soft and so that things don't bounce. You're going to be taking some small parts off of the drum, and if something bounces off of a hard surface, lands on the floor, you could lose it. So you don't want to lose parts. And also I'll remind you at this point, as you take things apart, make note of the order of how they came off so that when you put it back together, you put it back together correctly. All right, I have my lug bolts off. Next I'm going to take my rim off. Sometimes your head might be stuck in your rim and the whole thing might come off. That's okay, just pop the head off if that happens. So here's my rim. Take my rag. What I always like to do is clean any dust particles, and there often is dust, lint, and usually chips from the drumsticks wind up down in here. So I clean all that off. I'll set my rim over here. Take my old head off carefully. I'm not going to need this because I'm replacing it. Throw that up there. Now I'm inside of my drum. As you see, I have just one lug casing on. I've already removed the other 5, but I'll show you how I do that. So you know, this drum has single lug casings. Most tom-toms are going to have 2, a lug casing at the top and a lug casing at the bottom. Mine has singles. It saves me a little bit of time working on this drum actually, which is nice. When I get inside the drum, you can see here the lug casing is held onto the drum with 2 screws or bolts, I suppose. And all drum companies are different. Some of those screw bolts will have a screwdriver slot or star, and some won't. This one doesn't. This one requires a socket. So I found the right socket size. I had this little T-handle, bought it cheap at a hardware store. So I go in here and I loosen those up. And I go around the drum and loosen them all up, just like I did with the lug bolts. And once I have them loose enough to use my fingers, I go back in and I loosen them off completely while holding the lug casing on the outside. I loosen that up. And that's what comes off. There's a washer. And as you can see, a small, I guess it's a bolt. Now, this is really important. I keep these inside the drum. This way they can't get lost. The drum basically makes a container for them. And then I don't lose them or misplace them or have them bounce around. Take the next one off. And then there I have my lug casing. Then I set my lug casings over here. I go around the drum. I do that for all the lug casings. Both heads come off first. Tension rods, rims, heads, clean them. Then I get inside, I take off the lug casings. Then the next thing I do is I take off the other hardware. I've already taken off the tom mounting bracket. Here that is. That sat on the drum right here. That came off. That was held on by slightly bigger bolts with bigger washers. I set them inside. And I also took off the muffler system that was inside this drum. And again, I put those parts back together the way they were, and I set them over here safe so that I can work on them. All right, at this point I have my drum shell. It's completely taken apart. There's no hardware on it. It's just a wood shell with the coating on the outside and all the holes. So I'm ready to do a little maintenance here and check a few things out before I start to clean and reassemble the drum.